It's like I was ready to go. Like, yeah, man, the rest of the day is done. You know, I'm taking over. It was just that vibe. It gave me that energy,
I
and
like that.
I can listen to anything, man. Like especially nowadays, I don't strictly just listen to hip hop because I find when I do listen to hip hop, for me now, unless it's something brand new, it's for a purpose. So once in a while, I'll throw on Mad Child because I want to hear the
Yeah.
rhymes he wrote, the words he used, how he used them, and gives me an idea like, oh, okay, I could use it like that, or I could write it like that. That's actually pretty cool. I didn't think of it that way. As opposed to new hip hop, in my case, not necessarily the new generation, but just a new artist or song I haven't heard yet. I'll listen to it because it's brand new, and then if I like it or if it's something that's caught my ear or my mind, it's gonna be on repeat. I'm gonna listen to that specific song over and over and over until I decipher. Like the rhyme schemes for one are always important to me. I want to hear the rhyme schemes and how he wrote it because it just blows my mind sometimes, and it gives me ideas for my writing. So hip hop is more for a purpose. The rest, even though I still technically break it down, even rock, I listen to rock now because I want to hear I want to hear the voice. I want to hear a booming voice, unless it's screaming. I want to hear a certain type of scream, and I want to hear the guitar solo. But like, if the guitar solo doesn't deliver the way I would like it to be delivered, it was cool, but I'm a pass. I don't know. There's all technical details when I listen to certain music.
Hmm.
That's the
I
way I
feel
am
you,
with it.
man. I respect all of that. I'm a little like I'm a little more whorish with it. Um, so I started doing album reviews, right?
Yeah,
And so what happened is like I did Lil Yachty, and I remember it very particular that like when he dropped, that was really colorful, and he got in some trouble because of the colorful nature of the cover, we can say, with its
yeah,
LGBTQT plus kind of leaning tendencies. I bumped the album, and I was like flat out, this is some banging ass amazing music. I was like, this is really good music. Is it amazing rapidy rap stuff? Nah, but the bars weren't like bad like people were saying. And it's
yeah.
like nothing lived up to the negative reputation that it had. Like in fact, objectively listening to it, I'm not gonna lie, with like people dancing and shit, like it's better than a lot of shit, especially if you want to dance. And dancing got real important to me in the last year because I lost a lot of weight, got in some shape and shit. And I'm like, I can move
Yeah.
now. Let's get into this, get into it. And now I
Yeah.
listen to a lot of shit, and I'm like, some of this rapidy rap shit, there's like no dance ability to it beyond a little two step. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that's why people listen to all this other shit. They want girls to show up. Okay,
Hey,
that
man.
makes a lot of sense.
Like Tupac said, rap for the ladies. The ladies bring the guys.
Yo, there's a lot of truth in that, man. Because, a lot of these, like, even like if we look at these Facebook contest groups, and I'm no disrespect to it, but like, how many girls are in these groups? It's a lot. It's very
None.
battle rap centric, and I don't mean to
Yeah.
disrespect that. There's a lot of open mindedness to it. Anybody's welcome, etc., etc. But there's a general like heavy testosterone driven hip hop feel to it,
Yeah.
and
Definitely.
there's not a lot of
I agree with
melodies
you
up in
because
there.
on that note, it's true though because I feel it certain okay hip hop in general it is based on competition, just even that battles, but not even that. When you listen to another artist, I find anyways, when I listen to you,
Mm,
I hear the way you wrote and how you crafted your rhymes. My competitive side's like, well, I want to do that but better.
I
Not
like it.
not not to disrespect you, but just in general as a craft, I want to
Yeah,
do
I'm cool with
better.
that.
But that's what I mean. So
But
like
that's a huge
it's
compliment. You're like, I listened to you and it inspired me to want to crush you. That means I didn't
but
suck.
that's what I mean.
That's amazing.
Whereas again, not to sound this isn't even sexist. It's just the fact that women aren't as aggressive as men. So it makes sense that hip hop doesn't pull or doesn't attract as many female fans as in the hip hop that's more about just those bars of like the technical bars and like hit and the competition side of it. If you have a melodic hook or some kind of melody inside that kind of eases up, I feel like with that incorporated in it, you can gain more female fans just
So
because of the sound of it. It just sounds less aggressive as opposed to just straight bars, straight, just you rapping on everything, even though it might be amazing. which usually it is, but the sound of it is just, it's like a machine gun. It's just like bah, 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 bah. There's no
Big
time to
facts.
relax, have some tea, and dance a bit. You know, like.
But it's also like, yo, check it. Like, this is an interesting segue. Shout out Natasha Marie. She said that's why most femcs are alpha females, because it's like, it's the only way in the door. And that has a
Yeah,
huge part of the
yeah,
culture. But I think what's changed is that, like, there's like the art of like being a rapping MC in the conventional sense of what it used to be. And then there is like, kind of the way music is just kind of opened up. So one of the things I learned talking to the younger end of people doing this journey is these kids is growing up with YouTube their whole life. So like to them, it's like fucking whatever was popping in like the pop world next to the hardcore rap, next to the, so like the lines are way less like in a box compared to the way we are. So there's a huge bunch of differences with the youth that's just changing shit up in a big way. But like
definitely.
even then, like I was just thinking as you were saying that the culture didn't exactly like pave a lot of lanes for it. You know what I found was like an interesting discovery across my classic quest journey is most of these first albums that women dropped had to have a male in the industry kind of write them up on the first track, giving them a cosign. And the girl
Oh
doesn't even
yeah,
show up until track 2 in most of these albums. I'm talking to Lil Kim, the fucking most of them. Any one of these people's first albums I've touched, and it's not exclusively the case, but even like fucking Raw Digga and shit has like a
yeah.
guy bringing her in on the first track. I don't remember who it is. And I
That's
just thought
interesting.
that was like, wow, why is it like all the classic female rappers had that? And it's like, why was that the norm, right? Like that's some shit
Yeah,
where like
yeah.
looking at it from 2020, I'm fucking bamboozled, right? Like I don't understand the culture that created that shit, but I don't know, man. I've also seen like just on the other side of it, like dudes is just mad disrespectful to like the fact that female rappers with talent exist. Like I will never forget this time I watched a Hip Hop Madness, or maybe not him, one of them, and he was like, "There's no good MCs," and like Rhapsody was literally nominated for a Grammy as that video came out, and I'm like, dog, like literally Rhapsody. Go look at Rhapsody. She's killing it. Like people just refuse to acknowledge that there are like people in the game that don't rely on sex to sell. Like people refuse to acknowledge it. Like they pretend it doesn't even fucking exist for some reason.
Oh, I mean, they're just gonna get left behind then because the fact is that everything changes. Everything's got to change. It's just the way it is, and it's the fact that it's music. Anyone can do it if they're dedicated enough. Anyone can do it. So I mean, if you put in enough time and effort, it doesn't matter if you're male or female or whatever it is. If you have the dedication, you're gonna get really good at it, and it's gonna be amazing. So I mean, just
Yeah.
the idea of thinking one type or area of life is supposed to be dominated by one type of um, gender is kind of um, nearsighted. I
Yeah, I'm
find.
with you on that. I absolutely am convinced that the lady MCs I've seen perform in this city bring it harder than we do. They try harder. They come more prepared than we are. And
Yeah,
I'm convinced they're going to take over because they're going to own social media more than we can.